Thanks, Bongani. Yes, let's stay with this. The Mining Minister, Gwede Mantashe, is saying today that announcement by Impala Platinum shows the company is careless. 13,400 miners will be affected by those job cuts, not to mention tens of thousands of their dependents. Both Implats and Lonmin are jointly planning to cut 26,000 jobs. They both have mines in Rustenburg that has, of course, been rocked by labour unrest in recent years. So let's look at the mining sector, the woes of this sector as a whole. To discuss, we're joined by mining and labour analyst Mamokgethi Molopyane. Thank you for being with us.
Good evening.
So, looking at what Minister Mantashe was saying, he's saying they're careless, but you look at that price. Does the mine have a choice? What do you think?
Not really, but also I pointed out that Minister Mantashe's statement is not the first one of a minister saying something like that in the mining industry. You'd recall that a couple of years ago, Minister Susan Shabangu, when a mining company announced it was going to cut 14,000 jobs, was livid and unhappy about that, and eventually the company restructured half of those jobs. So it's not surprising. The relationship between DMR and the producers has always been one that unfortunately at times plays out in public and at times can be heated. So this is not surprising.
And it seemed like it was getting better. Maybe there was optimism around Gwede Mantashe. Do you think that relationship still very fractured?
You know, the last time I spoke to you, I said perhaps now finally the mining industry and the Minister of Mining, that welcome on board sense is gone and the reality has hit. So obviously as the regulator, Minister Mantashe, he has to come out as defending, as calling for caution in terms of retrenchment. But reality of the mining industry globally, by the way, not just in South Africa, is that commodities are performing better. The platinum metals group is being hammered more than any other, and as we have seen in the chart, their prices has stagnated in the past 3 years, almost flat, nothing changing for a positive. So obviously the producers are going to restructure their operations. Not surprising that Impala for the next 2 years is restructuring its operations, given the hammering that is got and given the cost that it takes to produce platinum and the many other factors. No longer such a high demand for platinum since it can be recycled and reused.
So I'd love to talk about what's driving platinum, but first, does it help when government shouts? Maybe do the miners think, okay, let's try save jobs where we can, at least to protect our relationship with government, if nothing else, and we need those jobs to be saved?
Well, it has never helped. However, in the context of the mining industry, we'll always have to consider the fact that government will always see mining industry as one of the key sectors. After all, we are a resource-dependent economy. So whenever mining, high numbers of retrenchments are happening in that sector, that means the effects thereof are not just limited to mining industry but spills over to other industry. As we know, even with the salaries, one mining job looks after 10 or 20 people. So obviously it's going to have an economic impact, a socio-economic impact on communities, on the South African economy. And those two companies in the platinum sector retrenching or job cuts coming means we might be finally seeing a sunset of the platinum metals group in South Africa in the mining industry. Well,
government also pushing through changes, the mining charter, that's caused problems. Is government trying to, I mean, if it's a sunset industry, you're sort of kicking something when it's down, or do we still say no, transformation has to happen? It doesn't matter what financial state the mines are in.
It has to. I think it's a part that government has to appear as doing it, because they missed that super boom period where they could have finalized their legislatures and policies, and when it was happening, the benefits could have been spilled over to the communities and workers. And we have missed that. Perhaps now the drive drive that we are seeing so pushed forward is that while this is such a down period, let us finalize this, but it doesn't appear to be coming together nicely. 1 minute they were not going to contest, for example, 1 minute they were not going to contest the ruling of the courts on once empowered, the next minute they are taking under review, the next thing they are having discussion. So it seems like simply around the mining charter alone, not MPRD Act, by the way, there's a lot of problems there, and that unfortunately adds to the uncertainties related to the mining industry.
So talking about government, I remember Minister Rob Davies saying, well, look, we always have platinum. You know, nobody can take that away from us. We have so many platinum reserves. But encapsulating the problem, maybe there's just too much platinum in the world right now.
Yes, in fact, a research study revealed that 2 months ago that the mining industry, the mining producers, and they were looking globally, but of course, South Africa being the top producer means they were actually talking about South Africa's mining producers had painted themselves into a corner by oversupplying and overproducing platinum when nobody wants it because either they have enough or they are recycling what they had. For me, what stands out amidst all these restructurings of just 2 mining companies, not the whole industry that is gold coal, is that changes in the mining industry seems to be happening so fast and are not new. By the way, they are not unique to South Africa, restructurings and operations. Workers in Canada and Australia also gets retrenched. But in South Africa, it's the number, how many of these workers get retrenched, and the impact it has socially on the workers when they are retrenched. Another key argument amidst all this is that as companies are restructuring, lately they are considering adopting artificial intelligence, robotics, automation. That also will change and will have a huge impact in South Africa's mining industry.
You can see the cost difference, labor-intensive mines versus mechanized mines already.
Yes, you can. I mean, if you look at one mining operations in Limpopo versus its sister operation in the northwest, that mine continues for the past 3 years to carry the bulk of the quality, the number of production, the high production that the company, overall company, has had. South Africa's mining industry, because of the labor dynamics and the politics linked to it, has taking a backstand in adopting automation, unlike manufacturing, which were early adopters, so it's not going to shock them that much. But in the mining industry, they have no choice. With time, some of the operations will have to automate and mechanize because it's the reality of the kind of equipments that are being used. Sadly, when that happens, further jobs will be lost. On the positive, the jobs that are remaining, because the workers will have to be upskilled, that means they'll have better salaries. So you're going to be looking at a lean, nimble, fast and very accurate in terms of production mining industry that has fewer workers but better paid workers. But in the longer term now, the impacts of job cuts are significant.
And 13,000 is huge. So is that a once-off? And we'll see the numbers, at least in terms of those job losses, coming down? Or are you saying this could be the trend going forward?
It will depend on 2 things: the engagements that are happening at Department of Mineral Resources Committee of Mijat between Labour, government and business, the engagements that are probably going to happen separately between business and Labour, or between the minister and business. Of course, we have seen previously where a company had indicated it would restructure its operations, cut more than 14,000 jobs. That number was halved. But I do not see how Impala Platinum would find its way out of this. The same with Lonmin. Lonmin is closing shafts. Impala is closing 5 of the 11 shafts of the 11 mines. So unless somebody new comes in, buys in those assets, still we have no guarantee that they would keep all those workers.
Sure, it's huge. Very quickly, we don't have a cartel like OPEC, but we could actually control platinum supply, maybe in conjunction with Zimbabwe. Does it seem like there's almost a tacit agreement that they're bringing down production to try and bring up the price?
It won't
Almost
happen.
Acting like a cartel.
It won't happen. I mean, we have seen in the past, and I think that opportunity slipped according to that chart when platinum price was maybe at 1,500 at $1. It won't work now. But also, more importantly, we must remember that companies are tearing themselves into little pieces, because they are restructuring how they operate, responding to changes that are happening in terms of demand globally for commodities. Perhaps the only thing that is good was when Minister Rob Davies recently at AGOA argued hard for the trade tariffs that are going to impact on steel. We know platinum is a key component in steel, so we are affected, even though we may not be producing steel.
For that.
Yes.
We have to leave it there, but thank you for your analysis as always, mining and labour analyst Mamokgethi Molopyane, unfortunately painting a bleak outlook that those job losses huge at Impala, and we could even see more in the future.